Hi, it's Jen Varela from Sugar Night Night answering your Sleep Talking Tuesday questions. And the question this week is from a mom with an 8-month-old. And her question is it normal to have my baby cry every night at bedtime? Oh, my heart just hurts for you. I think that would be so hard every night to have your little one crying. I really would want to ask a few more questions before I would answer this in a very specific way for your family. So I'm going to address this more from a general perspective because there can be many factors, but I think this information will be helpful. And if it's not detailed enough, then feel free to come to a Sleep Talking Tuesdays. I do them twice a month on Zoom, and we can get into the answer with a little more depth. So when you're talking about crying, there can be a lot of different descriptions to that. Just like if I say the color blue, well, is that navy blue or is that light blue, right? So if the crying is more a form of communication of like, hey mom, I really don't want the day to end. This is like not what I wanted. There's some little ones that kind of just have to have the last word and let you know it's not what they wanted. Only a parent can know what's an acceptable form of crying, right? And so there can be communication crying. That doesn't mean they're in distress, doesn't mean something's wrong, doesn't mean they're in any danger. So I think clarifying when you say crying is really important. If the crying is more along the lines of really upset every single night, then I'm going to say something's missing. It could be that the awake window is too long, that the time awake between bedtime or between nap and bedtime is too long, and they're just way overstimulated and overtired. So you could take a look at, is that window an appropriate amount? So at 8 months, you're probably fine at 2.5 hours between waking from nap and bedtime asleep. So if they woke up at 5 and they're asleep at 7:30, you're probably fine in that window. If you're over 3 hours, then I'm going to say there's a good chance. So if your baby wakes up at 5 from their last nap and they're going to sleep after 8, there's a good chance that you are keeping them awake too long. So that's one thing to consider. The other thing to consider is, how has your response been to them at bedtime? Have you been consistent with the answer you've been giving them? Inconsistency in your response can actually teach them to cry. So example being, if you put them in the bed and then you're like, well, let's just wait and see how they do. And so you wait 10 minutes to see how they do. And then you go in. And at 10 minutes, they're still really, really crying. So now you pick them up and you console them. I'm going to say if your method is let's just see how they do, and you're not using something that's evidence-based method, and it's just kind of like sometimes you wait, sometimes you don't, then you may be teaching your baby to cry. So kind of a funny way to put it is, let's say my daughter comes in at 2 and says, Mama, can I have a cookie? And it's right before dinner. And I go, honey, no cookies before dinner. You have to have dinner first. But I want a cookie. I need a cookie. I have to have a cookie. She's losing it. Right as I'm pulling the lasagna out of the oven. And I go, fine, have a cookie. Well, what has she learned? Always ask for a cookie with a fit. Never ask nicely, what's the point? So I would want you to consider, are you giving a consistent answer to meet their need while you find an exit strategy? If so, then that crying shouldn't be going on and on and on. So something to think about. Glad you asked the question. And just consider what your answer is, and can you give that answer consistently? And are you meeting that need with an exit strategy? So hope that helps. Thanks for submitting your questions. Always happy to have you come on a Sleep Talking Tuesdays on Zoom. All right, take care. Bye-bye.